Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In the previous lecture, I have created fake REST API server with the help of JSON server library. In this lecture, I am going to tell you how we can make HTTP request in our Angular applications. Inside our homepage URL, we have this post get form and we are displaying list of post data here. And currently, we are fetching this post data from our post service. And if I open our post service, which is under app shared services folder, and currently we are calling this get post method from our post list component. So let's check our post list component. Inside this ng on init method, we are calling this get post method to get the post data. And if I check this get post method, we are returning this hard-coded post data. And now we will not return this hard-coded post data from this get post method. Instead of that, what I will do, I'll make one HTTP request to get list of post data. In the previous lecture, I have created that fake REST API server for our post data. So let's run our server first. So inside our Angular applications folder, we have created this server folder and we have created this db.json file in the previous lecture. Now let's run the server. So let's open one terminal from here and then let's check the JSON server documentations. How we can run the server? We can run the server by running this command. So let's run this command from our server folder. So this will run the server and we can access list of post data from this URL. So you can watch my previous videos to create fake REST API servers for our post data. So I am showing you what I did in the previous lecture. I have created the db.json file, and inside this db.json file I have this object and I have this resources like post resources, and inside this post resources we have this post data, which is an object, okay, array of object. So let's close this and we can access list of post data from this URL. So let's access this URL and let's check, are we getting the data? Yeah, we are getting list of post data. Now from this get post method, I will call this HTTP request, right, to get list of post data. Before calling any HTTP API endpoint, what we need to do, we need to import our HTTP client module inside our app modules imports arrays. So let's import HTTP client module here. So this will be HTTP client module and this will come from Angular at angular/common/http. So this is the first step, and then what we need to do, we need to go to our service file, and inside this service file what we'll do, we'll create one dependency injection and store it to a variable called http, okay, and this will be http client. Remember, this will be HTTP client, and what we have imported inside our app module, which is HTTP client module. Okay, this is client module, and this is the class. We need to we need to create the dependency injection by which we will call that API endpoint. Okay, so now from this get post method, what I will do, I will call that API endpoint with this HTTP. Okay, the endpoint method will be get, and inside this get method what we need to do, we need to provide that API endpoint. So what is the API endpoint? This is the API endpoint we need to provide here. So provide the API endpoint and then we need to return this from here. Okay, remove this because we are not using this code now. Also let's remove this post variable from here, and for now let's comment out this code, and this will be type of observable, right? So let's say observable, and this will be type of post array. So this will be post array, and let's provide the type here as well. So let's provide the type here. Okay, and now let's go to our post list component.ts file. We need to make some modification here also. So previously we are calling this get post method directly, and we are storing the data to this local variable called post. Now this is an observable, so to get data from observable, what we need to do, we need to subscribe it. So let's subscribe it and we'll receive the data. Okay, so we'll receive the data here. So let's say post, and this will be type of post array. Okay, and after receiving the data, what I will do, I will simply store it to this local variable, which is post. Okay, that is fine. And what else we need to do here, we can also add error block here to catch the error. If you want to catch the error, console.log error. Okay, now let's check, are we getting the data from the server or not. So let's inspect the element and let's check the data tab and refresh the page. Yeah, we are making this API call to get the data, and let's check that. Do we have the data? Yes, we have this 6 data here, right? So we successfully fetched the data from the API endpoint. Okay, now we'll tell you how you can pass some data here, like how we can pass the parameters or how we can pass some search keyword to our get API endpoint. Okay, so first of all, what I will do, I will open our post service.ts file, and here if you want to pass any options like HTTP options like headers and authorization key, how we'll implement this. So first of all, we'll create one variable here called HTTP options. Okay, HTTP options, and this will be an object, and inside this objects, what we can pass headers, and this will be new HTTP headers. Okay, and inside this I have already prepared some code for you. Also, how we can provide the headers, we can provide the headers in this way. Okay, so let's say we want to provide headers all content type, and you can provide it in this way, and we need to import this HTTP header, and this will come from angular/common/http. and if you want to provide any authorization token, you can provide it here. I don't require it, so I'll remove this. So, and you need to pass these HTTP options in the second parameter of your get method. So this is how we pass the headers, right? And if you want to provide any parameters, then how we will provide it. So for our get post method, we will also implement search functionality. So what I will do for now, I'll get one parameter here, and by default this will be blank, and I will check if this search post, not search post, this will be search keyword. Okay, search keyword. So if user is providing any keyword to search the post, then I will provide the parameters. So I will modify that HTTP options and I will provide that parameters. So this will be params, and this will be the value. So this will be params, and I will provide the parameters. We'll provide the parameters here. So before that, we need to import that HTTP params from angular/common/http, and what will be the key name? The key name here will be title like. So how we will search the post? So we are going to search the post with the title, right? So we'll provide title like, and then let's say title like 2. Okay, so this will be the key and this will be the value, right? So let's say title like, and what will be the value? The value will be the search keyword, whatever the keyword user will provide. Okay, so this is how we add the options like header and params to our API endpoint. Okay, that's it. Now let's implement our search functionalities. So we added that search functionalities inside our API endpoint, but we have not implemented from our component, right? Component.ts file. So here is our posted component, And for now let's check that yeah, component TS file, we have this ng after view unit. And if you remember in the previous lectures, I already implemented view child decorator. So we have this post list component, and inside this post list component .html file we are using this post search component, right? So I think, yeah, there's some code previously I just removed. Yeah, this was like that. So we have this app post search component we are using inside our post list component.html file. Okay, and actually we are not using this, so we can remove this from here because I implemented when I created the video how we can pass data from child to parent component. Okay, so remove that. So we have this post search component here, and if I open our parent component, this is child component, and the parent component this post it component itself. Okay, so if I check our child component part, which is post search, right? So let's go to our post search component. So inside this post search component we have this search input control. Okay, you need to comment out this code also because previously it was there. So I just commented out this code because we are no longer using this. Okay, so we have this search input form control, and from the parent component, the parent component is our post list component and the child component is our post search component. From the parent component called post list component, we are calling this search input form control with the help of view child decorator. You see, I have accessed this child component with the help of view child decorator, and I am calling this value changes method of our form control. So whenever there will be some changes in the value for this search form control, then we'll search the record, right? So here we'll make some changes. So what we'll do, first of all, I will remove this code from here. Instead of calling this method directly inside this ng on init method, I'll create a separate method called get list of post or get post. Get post is fine. Okay, and I will put that code inside this get post method, and inside this ng on init method I will call this dot get post method. Okay, so that is fine. Okay, and whenever there will be some such keyword provided by the user, we will call that this dot get post method again. Okay, but we are not providing any search value. So how will provide the search value? So how will provide the search value? I'll create one property here called search keyword. Okay, this search keyword is fine, and by default this will be type of string and the default value will be blank, and we will provide this value to our get post method, right? So this will be this dot search keyword. So that is fine. So we are providing the value to our get post method, right? Now inside our services we already implemented that search functionality, right? So let's open our post service. You see, we already passed our search keyword here, title like and the search keyword. So this search functionality should work now. So let's refresh that URL and let's provide 2 here. Is there any? Okay, because it is not providing any value, I think the API is calling, right? So let's check that inspect and network tab. I think the API is calling here. Yeah, API is calling, but we are not providing any values, I think, in the headers, right? So what we need to do, we need to provide the value. We have passed that value here, right, from this method, but this value is not setting whenever there will be the changes of our search input form control. So we need to store the value to this variable, right? Then we are calling this method, so this value will be passed to that get post method of a service. Now if I refresh this form and try to provide any values here, let's say TWO2, and you see data is filtering as expected, right? So it is working fine. So that is okay for our get functionalities, I mean get API endpoints. Now let's talk about the post API endpoints. So here we have this post get form, right? Now I will make some changes inside our post service to create new records. So let's go to our post service, and inside this add post method, what I'll do, I'll copy the code what I did for that get post method, copy that and paste it here. Okay, so we don't require this search keyword here. So, and also we need to call post method here, and the return data type will be, I think, post. Yeah, this will be type of observable, and let's say observable, and the type will be single post. Okay, and the API endpoint will be same, and in the second parameter we need to provide the value. Whatever the value we need to provide, I mean whatever the value we need to store, we need to provide in the second parameter, and in the third parameter we need to provide the options like headers or any other parameters if you want to pass. Okay, so that is fine. Now save it, and let's check our post create form. Yeah, so let's go to our post create form. So inside our post create form we are calling this post service add post method, and we are providing this data, right? So this is an observable, so we need to subscribe it. So we'll get the value here also. Let's say post, and this will be type of post. This is the value what API will return. I think we don't have this post model here imported, so let's import it here. Yeah, and let's console it, console.log. Or instead of consoling, what we can do, we can provide this inside this success block. Okay, and this is a success block. Whenever there will be success API responses, then this code will execute, and here we are deciding the form, and we are alerting the message post created, and we can also handle the error as well as. So you can console some error message here. Okay, or you can, if you want to add some console log here, so let's console log the error, and if you want to alert any message here, let's say post creation failed. If you want to display any generic message, what you will get from the backend, you can get it from this error block, I mean error object. For now that is fine. So this is fine. Now let's get one new post here. So let's add a new post. Let's say dummy post, dummy description. Let's provide category and author. Let's say text author, or image URL. Let's say this URL. Okay, and is feature true. And click on this. Right now we have 6 posts, right? So click on this. You see we are getting successful response from the API endpoint, but the newly added post is not appending here, right? So this is another thing, we need to implement that it correctly. So now if I refresh the page, then we will get that newly added post here. Right now we have 7 posts. So as soon as when we will create the new post, what we need to do, we need to make some coding here, right? So we have these subjects here, right? So because we have this post list component and we have this post create component, both are separate component, right? So we cannot check directly that there is a new post added, right? So for that, what I did, I created this subject, right? So I created this subject, post subject, and whenever there will be some newly added post is there, then I will provide one value to this subject, right? So whenever there will be a new post added, then what we can do, we can provide some value to these subjects. And how we can implement it, for that, what we can do, we can use pipe operator, and there is one operator called tap, and inside this tap operator, if you want to perform any actions, whenever there will be some successful response from the API, then we can add it here. Okay, so whenever there will be some successful response, then we will simply put one record to the subject. Okay, and this time this will be newly added post, so this will not be the array of post. For now, let's provide the newly added post. So let's check the type. Yeah, this should not be array now, this will be one single object. Yeah, now this is fine. Okay, save this, and we are saving it because if I check our post list component, where we listen to these subjects, I think we used an array, right? So let's go to our post list component. Yeah, here is our post list component, and when we listen to that get updated post subjects, right, you see we are assigning that to a variable called post array, right? So we will not assign to this post array directly here. So instead of this, what we can do, we can simply call this get post method again to get the refreshed post, latest post. Okay, and this will be single post. Now it is fine. Now let's try to add the post here. Let's say anything, or let's say newly post created. Okay, description. This is some boring stuff actually to provide the data. So let's provide the image URL and picture 2, and right now 7 records I have, right? Click on submit, and yeah, we have the newly added post here, so everything is working fine. So there is extra call is happening, right? So whenever there is some post added, so we are calling this get post method again, right? Instead of this, what we can do, we can simply add the newly added post to this post array, right? So I will do it. This dot post is equal to, so I will copy all this post right now what we have, and I will add the newly added post at the last. Okay, or you can add this at the bottom, at the first. How we will implement? So actually we are not loading that newly added post in that first, so that is why we are not providing it at the bottom, right? At the first. So that is good. So we don't require to call any other API request after getting new post. Get the refresh post. Okay, now let's check that functionality again. Create another post, another final test, submit, author, test author, imageable this one, and we have this 8 post, right? So close this, submit. Yeah, we have only one request and we are getting the latest post, right? So this is how we implement. Okay, now I will tell you another thing, how you will handle the errors, right? So inside our post service, if you create one custom error handle method, you can create it inside your service file. So I have already prepared some code for that handling errors, so let's copy this. So you can create private error function like error handle error. Okay, and we need to import it. Also need to import throw error. Okay, so and we need to call this handle error whenever there will be some error. So inside this pipe, what we can do, we can call catch error method, and this catch error method will come from RxJS. I think this will be catch error or catch errors. Let's check. This is catch error, right? So let's provide it. So let's open this file and let's provide it here. Catch error. Yeah, this is fine. So what we are doing here, if you want to console or log some log some data to your backend API, you can call it here, or if you want to console log some error, you can here according to the status, you can do it here. Okay, this is how we'll handle the errors. Now the final thing is that instead of passing this API endpoint directly here, what we can do, we can provide that we can store it to a environment variable, right? So inside our Angular we have this environment folder, I think under SRC. Yeah, we have this environment and environment.plot.ts and environment.ts file. So we can open the environment.ts file and we can provide the API URL here. Let's say API URL. Let's say API URL. So change it to API URL and we can provide the URL here. So what will be the URL? The URL will be HTTP localhost 3000 port and we'll provide it here. Okay, so the URL here, and then what we can do, we can create one dependency injection inside our services called environment. So private env and this will be environment. Okay, environment say environment. Are we getting it from environment, right? So what is that environment file? So let's open it. I'm not getting it properly. So the environment file is under app and then under, so this will be environment, right? So let's check that actual file in. So this will be environment and this will be environment, I think, right? Yeah, export code const environment and import it. Do we have any errors here? No, we don't have any errors. We have this. Let's make it environment as well as, actually we need to go to that correct path. So this will be /environment/environment. Yeah, now we can use this environment variable for that API endpoint. So this will be our API endpoint. Let's say this will be our environment.api URL and then this value, right? So this is fine, and for that we can use that environment.api endpoint. Now this is fine, I think. Refresh that page. Are we getting any error? Still we are getting, right? Yeah, I got it. This should not be on dependency injection here. This should be on private variable here, right? So sorry for that. This will be is equal to environment, right? This will be public, not private. Let's say public or private. Yeah, now this should work, I think. Save the file and check the API endpoint. Yeah, this is fine, right? So that's it for making API request in Angular application. In the next lecture, what I will do, I will create separate routing for that post create form and post list. So you will understand how we can implement routing in our Angular application in the next lecture. So stay connected.